Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Brought to you by Bolen Media. RBP, 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 Ross Bolen. RBP, RBP, RBP,
Check.
Welcome back for episode 265 of the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP 265, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, of course, Ross Bolen, here today with co-host Jared Borislow. Jared, how are you, sir?
I'm great.
Thank you for smiling for everyone.
You're welcome.
At the
yes.
top.
Well, I'm on camera now. Usually when Ross says my name, I go, "Oh, brother, now we gotta do another one of these."
Right.
But now that I'm on video, Ross, it's great to be here with you. God, it's good to see
You're
your
just
face.
like fist pumping
Yeah.
and just over exuberant.
Yeah, well, I wasn't fist pumping, but
Oh.
they can see that. They can.
I forgot.
Do people know that they can watch these?
I think so. YouTube.com/Bolen Media. Every new episode we do of RBP is now available there, as well as Freeze All Motor Functions
Yes.
and Oysters, Clams, and Cockles,
And
our other two podcasts.
you can also view every video of RBP on youtube.com/bestofFurries.
Don't do that, though. I wonder if that's a real one.
You would think it has to be. And if it's not, I'm going to lock it down.
You have to lock that down.
Best of Furries.
Because, look, the opportunity to branch off and become a furry podcast is still there. Today's show, we're going to focus on other things.
Yeah.
But in the back of our minds, let's not forget the furry momentum we've built these past 2 weeks.
I could have sworn you told me, like in private, that the plan was to become a furry podcast. Is that?
You could have sworn. I actually woke up in the middle of the night last night choking on a fur ball. Like a hairball in my throat, but it was fur, not
Wait,
hair.
is that a real story?
Yes.
Okay. So what kind of? You don't have a cat.
Don't know what that means,
Dog
man.
fur?
Don't know.
Are you like when you're dreaming? Do you think your dog is some sort of popsicle and you're just like licking it over and over?
I hope not. But it's also insanely possible. Speaking of that, Paranormal Activity, the movie.
Yeah.
One of the scary movies that scarred me the most when I saw it in theaters of any horror movie I've ever seen. It was on basic cable the other day, on loop for like 8 hours, on like one of the channels that everybody gets. Like a child could have turned it on. So I had it running on loop for about 6 hours in the crib. Not sure why.
Isn't that the one that like the advertisements for it were like 3 octogenarians had heart attacks in the theater?
No, I don't know what the fuck that is.
I'm pretty sure there was a horror movie
Or
where
what
they
an
were like,
octogenarian is.
it's an 80-plus-year-old person or an 80s.
Oh, but my connection was I'd have to set up a camera in my room, a la Paranormal Activity, to see if in the night I am indeed utilizing one of my dog's, perhaps foots, as a popsicle.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a very special edition of the Ross Bolen Podcast planned for you today, centered around what we have dubbed the RBP Impact Initiative. Jared, over the last couple weeks, we asked our listeners to send their stories in through email, and to show with ways to show this that if this podcast had impacted them or those around them in a particular way, or could have been related to mental health, something with substance abuse, relationships, or family issues. And we heard from hundreds and hundreds of members of what we call the RBP gang. And I can't tell y'all, by the way, how much it meant to be able to read through so many of your stories, so many of your very personal stories, some of them very, very funny, some of them very, very personal, some of them a mix of both somehow. Some nearly made me cry, some had me laughing and then almost crying. It was very dramatic this past couple weeks of reading through emails, Jared, but it was incredibly enjoyable, and I feel like I got to know a lot of you on a much more personal level as a result. So I chose several of y'all's stories to share today in hopes that your stories will continue to inspire others as they have inspired me and are about to inspire Jared. But first, Valentine's Day is coming, and you know what that means. RBP 265 is brought to you by Baked by Melissa.
These things taste like love
Dude, okay.
in a cupcake in my mouth.
I recommend these nonstop every February. It's tradition.
It's cupcake season.
Yeah, even when they're not paying us, and they are paying us here, to be clear. But Baked by Melissa, they're incredible. These tiny little orgasmic-looking cupcakes. I've put them on my Instagram story multiple times already. I've eaten through a box. Valentine's Day isn't even here yet. But Valentine's Day is coming very quickly. It's all about experiences. You want it to be memorable for your person, Jared, your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend, whoever. It could just be a friend you're sharing Valentine's Day with. If it's not memorable, if it's not so delicious that it sticks with your lover forever, you're a failure.
I would say this. A lot of people don't do a Valentine's Day that is distinguished from previous Valentine's Days. For example,
They get repetitive.
yes, I don't remember what I did a lot of Valentine's Days. However, I do remember that 2 years ago, I went to a Chili's.
Ah, For-
Switch things up for
like
Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's, you
Yes.
went to Chili's.
Yes.
A special memory
Exactly.
in your heart.
We were like, you know what? Everybody's going to fancy restaurants. We're going to go to Chili's. So, like, do something different. Do something that changes it up. And
Get
Baked by
yourself
Melissa
some
sounds
Baked
like
by
a great
Melissa.
Sounds like a great way to do it.
Absolutely. They're bite-sized cupcakes. As I've said, I've eaten up to 10 of them in one sitting before, which is not, I'm sure, what they recommend, but I love them. They're incredible. I'm ordering them for myself and everyone else this Valentine's Day. If you don't get your person Baked by Melissa and they listen to this show,
Oh,
how will you explain yourself?
that's
How?
It's just gonna be like a gift of the Magi situation, but
Uh-huh.
both people are gonna come with Baked by Melissa, and so everybody's gonna be happy and not kind of sad while pretending like they're happy.
Sure. Just in time for Valentine's Day, choose from white chocolate cookies and cream, red velvet, milk chocolate, dulce de leche, and more, plus vegan and gluten-free options. Jared, I know you're super into staying cupcake-filled, but also health-conscious. Every flavor they have is incredible, though. Baked by Melissa treats are delicious. They're perfectly bite-sized, so you can have one in every flavor, and you will want to. They offer 1 and 2 day shipping nationwide. Baked by Melissa. The last day for standard shipping for Valentine's Day delivery, February 12th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Last day for
2
standard
p.m.
shipping,
Eastern time.
February 12th, 2 p.m. EST. Okay? So, this Valentine's Day, send your loved ones the perfect gift. Baked by Melissa. Go to bakedbymelissa.com. Use the promo code RBP. Get 15% off your order. Take advantage of this special offer just for the RBP gang. That's 15% off at bakedbymelissa, melissa.com/promo code RBP.
If everybody listening to this uses that promo code, Ross will let me pie him in the face with a cupcake.
I will. If every single one of you uses it. Some amends and
Yes.
fact-checking. We have a new intern, Natalie, who's our fact-checking intern, and she sends us, not just mistakes that we make, or mostly me, but also little tidbits of information that may be related to things we discussed in the prior episode. So for episode 264, she has provided us with some notes here. First of all, the Kobe 6 Concord, which is the Kobe Bryant shoe that I unfortunately gave away literally a few months before his passing, that I had for over a decade, is available on StockX. I didn't know this. I couldn't find it in the size 10/11 for $2,013.95, including shipping. Or you can bid on them for a starting price of $300.
I actually heard the $2,000 ones are the ones you gave away that somebody just listed up there.
That would suck if they were the exact pair. I think these are brand new, though, the ones for $2,000.
Okay.
A 10.5 is available on GOAT, which is another one of those sneaker resale apps, for $1,025. So, but again, for me, it wasn't about the money. It was about I want my pair, not any my pair back, because I had them forever. The Space Boot Kobe shoe that I referred to was the Kobe 2, if
Wait.
you wanted to look it up.
Are you like doing a campaign right now to get that person to send you back your shoes? And what will you give them in return? Because you know they would.
You don't understand. The person who has the shoes doesn't know they're mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the problem. List of the largest fast food chains in the U.S. Number 1, Subway. Number 2, Starbucks. Number 3, McDonald's. Number 4, Dunkin' Donuts. Number 5, Pizza Hut. Number 6, Burger King. Number 18, Chipotle.
I'm required to say by the FCC that I am an investor in Chipotle. So whatever we say, I do have that bias inside of me.
Unbelievable.
Anything else we're saying?
Unbelievable. James Harden makes roughly $54.51 in 45 seconds on the court, not including endorsements. To clarify that. Edgar Valdez Villarreal is known as La Barbie, and they have the same birthday, that guy and Natalie. She says she is La Barbie now. Thank you, Natalie. A California court ruled in 2019 that prison inmates are legally allowed to possess marijuana, but they're not permitted to use it. The court says state law does prohibit smoking weed in prison. Prison officials can still punish pot possession as a rules violation. So why are they legally allowed to possess it? That seems California prisons more confused than Texas non-prisons.
Everything, yeah.
Just our gen pop of free people. Scout is the spokes canine of WeatherTech. Spokes canine is so cute.
Well, Scout was also saved by the great doctors at the University of Wisconsin-Madison School of Veterinary Medicine, of which I intended to become a member, but I took Animal Science 101, had to castrate a pig, which I've spoken about on this podcast, and immediately dropped out, became an econ major, dropped out of that because I got a C in econ, and then I did journalism, and that's how I got
now you're here, motherfucker. I love that. Dude, I forgot you had to castrate a pig.
Yeah, it was rough.
Why'd they make you do that, J-Bone?
They didn't want to do it. That's what I found out later on.
Sweet,
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's rough.
I felt weird doing that segment without you here for the last episode.
Yeah, it's weird.
Since you were the Wisconsin guy and you were my connection, there was nobody to like get all pumped up about the red W or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Is that even something you say?
I mean, no, we don't say that, but we wear it.
I tried to make up something that sounded cool, like I might know stuff about Wisconsin.
You have visual on Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's what you're showing.
To be clear, Jared went to school at the University of Wisconsin.
University
He's
of Wisconsin.
from Florida. Don't confuse the two.
Ross does.
I have my whole life.
Yeah.
From Florida, went to school in Wisconsin. Also, The Last Battle is a movie that they're... Okay, so we did our Stuff to Wikipedia When You're High.
Oh, yeah.
Last episode was the battle for Castle Itter. This crazy-ass battle at the end of World War II where the Germans ended up fighting with the Americans and the French against the Nazis. You got to read the story. I was like, man, this would be a great movie. They are making a movie, or apparently it maybe did. The Last Battle is what it was called, and it's in pre-production based on the book by Stephen Harding. That's an unfortunate name because it's too close to Stephen Hawking.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was too close to Stephen Hardon.
No, well, no. See, I'm way more mature than you. I never
Oh.
would have gone that direction. I went this direction, the mature direction, with the genius.
Look
the
how
boner
smart
joke.
I am. I
Look
know
at me.
genius is Aristotle, Socrates.
Hey, write this down, people. Jared, boner joke. Ross, Stephen Hawking. Remember this forever. Groundhog Day has its roots in the ancient Christian tradition of Candlemas,
Mhm.
when clergy would bless and distribute candles needed for winter. The candles represented how long and cold the winter would be. Germans expanded on this concept by selecting an animal, the hedgehog, as a means of predicting weather. Once they came to America, German settlers in Pennsylvania continued the tradition, although they switched from hedgehogs to groundhogs.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's the dumbest holiday of all time.
I mean, yeah.
It went from a religious candle handing out
candle distribution ceremony.
candle distribution ceremony. That just makes me think of that line from Monty Python where she's like, "Is there no basis for a system of government?" line. Do you know what I'm doing? I have to Google.
I thought you were going to say it makes you think of when Trump was throwing the paper towels in Puerto Rico, just distributing the paper towels by throwing them into the crowd.
That was also very funny. Oh, here's the line. Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. It's a great line.
By the way, I have on vinyl my dad's copy of a Monty Python. Like, it's a Monty Python vinyl from like the 70s. We need to listen to it. It's really funny.
Like it's a comedy album? It's not even...
It's a comedy album, a Monty Python comedy album from the 70s my dad had when he was in college.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
At one point, somebody gifted me like the full series, the TV series from the 70s in VHS. I've seen all that shit. Those guys are weird as fuck.
Yeah, they're very funny.
Some of the funniest motherfuckers to ever walk the face of the earth. I watched The Life of Brian over Christmas break. That movie's hysterical still. Some of those guys have died, by the way.
Yeah,
Rest in
one of them
peace.
just died.
Old. They are. Aged.
Yeah,
Turns out that's how it works. Day by day
it's rough.
for humans. What was it? Groundhog Day.
Dumb.
And I love that it was a hedgehog. It was Sonic, and then
Yeah.
they came here. We don't have much. Just go with the groundhog.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Sonic, Sexy Sonic, who they killed.
By
Rest
the
in
way-
peace, Sexy Sonic.
They did kill Sexy Sonic, and they brought back.
They,
I don't know. Again, we're in furry
Yeah,
territory.
I mean,
Again, I don't know how we get here.
we
Every
do.
conversation we have,
Um,
it's just.
Unpopular opinion. They actually made him sexier.
I'm not even gonna continue down what you want this
Yeah, no,
hedgehog
you're right.
hole to be.
Don't talk about hedgehog holes.
By the way, groundhogs, same as marmots, and shit, I forgot. But they're the animal of the week. Go listen to episode 264. But no, you didn't know a marmot was the same thing as a groundhog. Marmots and it's not coming to my brain. Thanks a lot, Ron. Oh, 2 more amends. President Abraham Lincoln did not enjoy retirement. Richard Nixon did not enjoy impeachment.
Really?
One more. The population of China is 1.439 billion. First segment, only segment.
Yeah.
RBP Impact Initiative. All right, so it's time to get into your stories, your emails, the RBP Impact Initiative. I'm very excited to share all these with y'all. I wish we could do a 4-hour, 15-hour episode, share all of them.
Well,
but
you
like
can.
I said,
you could.
well, we could. It'd be an outrageously irresponsible financial decision on our part.
Yeah, we need some sponsors.
Yeah, you know, it's our job. But this episode, for the record, is about it's not just like, oh my God, some of these stories, they're so sad. It's about acknowledging that we are not alone, that we are stronger together than we are apart, that things can get better when shit gets dark, because a lot of these people you're going to hear, first of all, hashtag bars, bitch, but you're going to hear from people who went through some really rough stuff and have come back from it. That is the point of this episode, not so much to let yourself be inundated by the life is hard. We already know that. We talk about that every week. This is supposed to be uplifting and, inspiring, impactful. Hashtag RBP Impact Initiative. All right, here's our first email. I'll stop being a tool. It's from Amanda. She says, hey, Ross,
Are
Jared.
these real names or no?
Some of them are real names. Some of them have said you can use my first name. Some have said you need to make up a handle for me. I'll give you one to make up a name when we get there. Please, Jared, don't blow it.
I will say.
No pressure. Just think.
I won't say.
Okay. Warning, this email is kind of depressing, so heads up. Oh, that's what she wrote, not me, by the way. And also, no, it's not. I just said it's uplifting. Anyway, she says, you can use my first name. My last name is Polish and too hard to pronounce. By the way, her last name was freaking awesome. I wish she had given me permission to share it. Like, I can't now because she specifically, it was incredible. I could have pronounced it, Amanda. I had it. Next time. Back in 2015, my best friend in the entire world committed suicide. My whole world was just wrecked. She was like a sister to me, and I couldn't handle her death. This is truly what started my depression/anxiety. For the most part, I would go to my grandma if I needed someone to talk about what I was going through, too. Then in 2017, as a sophomore in college, she was a sophomore in college. At the age of 84, my grandma passed away from liver cancer. There went my person of sanctuary and thus restarted my depression and anxiety. After these events, I began a relationship with who I thought was a great person, but ended up becoming an emotional abuser. Depression, anxiety got even worse. Anyway, right before I graduated college, I started listening to OCC. Shouts to the Clam Fam. I belly laughed for the first time in what felt like years at your and Barrett's theories about the Weeknd showing up in a Game of Thrones episode. I don't even remember that. I then started listening to RBP and really relate to the episode where you interviewed your mom about what life was like with your addiction. I also cried my eyes out during an episode where AJ was explaining how nerve-wracking it was to find a job right after graduation and getting your life started. I've always felt alone when it came to me not knowing my next step in life, and hearing that, I really felt as if someone finally understood and could put my emotions into words. After listening to a few episodes, I made the big decision to go back to therapy and sort through all my shit and gain the tools to sort through it in the future. I want to thank you for all the real laughs you've given me and for making me feel not so alone after all. I appreciate all that you do for the gang. Who knows where we would be if we hadn't stumbled upon RBP. Anyway, thanks for everything again, gang, gang, gang. Bless y'all for all that you do. Sincerely, Amanda. Amanda, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I love hearing from people who found RBP through through another podcast that we do, like through OCC or through Freeze All Motor Functions. And everybody in the Clam Fam is incredible. If you've never tried oysters, clams, and cockles, you absolutely should. But this is exactly the reason that I started doing this show. Because for me, going through so much of those years, through that period of my life, from 18 to 25 especially, the level of confusion I experienced and directionlessness really was brutal. And all the mental health stuff that I started to deal with during that time frame made it even more difficult for me to grapple with what to do with my life and how. And I felt this immense pressure, as so many of us do, to know what I was supposed to do with my life so long before I even had an inkling of a clue. And it was hard. And it's something that me growing up, especially, like, it's gotten better, but people didn't really talk about this kind of shit so much. Like, it was still very much a closeted thing. I mean, nobody went around talking to their boys about, like, I'm gonna start going to therapy, I think, to help with my mental health issue. Like, that just wasn't when I was 15 years old, you didn't fuck with that. Like, the first thing that really brought therapy and the idea of men going to psychiatry to the forefront of my life was The Sopranos, which is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. An HBO show about a fictional mob boss going to a shrink. So that was a big reason that I wanted to do this podcast, and it was a thing that spurred the idea. Originally for me was in college when I was going through it and I was having anxiety and panic attacks. There was this dude, one of my fraternity brothers. His name was Joe, and he was the only other person I knew in the entire world, who had ever experienced what I was experiencing. And I was talking to him at a bar, ironically. Shout out to Jay's Bistro, no longer exists. I lived above it for 2.5 years. It wasn't a good idea, but it was a lot of fun. About how that sucked. That he was the only guy I knew, like, in the whole fucking world. That was an outrageous idea to me. And we were just discussing, like, it would be cool if we could start something at school. We wanted to have some kind of club or a community or some shit. Like, think about, like, AA, but for people with mental health stuff. And we were drunk and all ambitious. It was one of those conversations where you're drunk with your boys, like, we could fucking do this,
Dude,
man.
Uber for helicopters.
Yeah, bro, this is the best idea I've ever had. And you're just a drunken jackass, and then you wake up the next day and you never even think about it again. That's exactly what happened. But it also was just that it wasn't like, first of all, I don't even know how I would have helped anybody at that point. I had no idea what I was doing. But also, it just wasn't that time yet for me. And eventually, that idea became this podcast over the course of several more years of ridiculous self-destruction, pain, and suffering, which made it even more important to me and even further solidified that idea that people in that age range and in every walk of life, at every age really, that we need each other and we need help. We can't do it alone. Life is fucking hard, man. If you try to go it alone, it will break you. Inevitably, it will. So that is sort of my long-winded speech after our first RBP Impact Initiative email to sort of get you where I'm at. Does that make sense, Jared?
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
I follow.
Oh, you follow.
I follow.
You follow. Amanda, thank you again. Here's our next one from Twat.
What?
Apparently that is his real nickname. I feel obligated to share these people's requested names when they're sharing their innermost important shit with me. So, this is from Twat.
I respect
He said, what's up, Ross? Who says you can't laugh about fucking serious shit? He says, what's up, Ross? I've been listening to the pod for exactly a year now. Exactly. And just thought I would share my story about how the show has impacted me. I had anxiety for just over 2 years now, but really never fully acknowledged it until I had my first panic attack during the beginning of 2019. I was bedridden and couldn't find any will to get out of bed, something I'd never experienced before. Pause. That is exactly what I experienced for a full fucking week. After the first one I had, I literally was in a room in bed the entire week, like puking and shitting my guts out, which I wasn't sure what the fuck that was about either. I thought I was dying. It was awful. Anyway, if that happens to you, now there are 2 people that you know that it's happened to, so you're good. But also see a doctor. Don't just think you're fine because I'm saying that. Maybe it's something else. Could be anything. You should go to WebMD. Google your symptoms. I'm fucking with y'all. I'm going back to the email. I had continually denied having anxiety since I had no signs of it in high school, although both my older sister and mom had it. Shortly after my first attack, I saw an ad for your podcast on the TFM and Postgrad Problems Instagram pages.
Many people.
The good old days, LOL.
Found through there.
And figured I'd start listening. You always talked about how medicine and exercise helped you the most when dealing with anxiety, but I still denied I needed the help. Fast forward to June 2019, and I had my most crippling anxiety episode. I lost 8 pounds in 1 week from not eating and could barely go outside. For the first time in my life, I became suicidal. I finally decided to seek help, and with your previous advice, I started medication, began seeing a therapist, and started lifting every day. Within 2 months, I saw a huge improvement in both my mental and physical health, my daily motivation, and my overall happiness. I haven't had a panic attack since my worst in June, and I now know how to handle my emotions and any anxiety-inducing situations I'm in. Looking back now, I believe that me seeing the ad for your podcast was an act of God to save me from committing suicide, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you for everything you set out to do because it has such an immense impact on people like myself. If I had any advice for people listening that are on the fence for starting medication like I was, it would be to fucking do it already. That's in all caps. I was never a huge believer in it helping me as much as it has. So fuck that if that's how you feel too. Start the medication. It'll change your life. Shouts to AJ, Jared, Mike, and Micah. R.I.P. By the way, he's still alive. G3 PS, call me twat if you decide to use this in an episode. LOL. It's an unfortunate nickname. It is among the most unfortunate I've ever heard, sir. You should
He's clearly
apply for
embraced it. He could have said his name was like Johnny
This was his opportunity.
Johnny Lightning or something like,
This-
oh, wow.
This was his Black Mamba moment. He could have given us any name,
But he embraces it.
and he went with
so-
twat. Stuck
I
to his
respect
guns.
It. I respect it.
Jared, it's called branding consistency.
It is.
You have an issue with it, J-Bone.
No, J-Bone is my display name.
I'm just fucking with you. Dude, that's incredible. Thank you, twat, for sharing. And there are so many people who found this show or me or you, in some cases, through either TFM or PGP or our past, the company that Jared and I started our careers at years and years and years and years ago, and people that have followed us from there to here. And I cannot say thank you enough to those people for we can't do this without y'all.
Don't tell them that.
So it's a two-way street. So thank you so much to those, especially those of y'all who have ridden since 2011 or whatever. Like, it's been a weird ride, but we're in a much better place now than we were then, in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that as a knock on anybody. That's just the way fucking life works. But yeah, man, that's look. It can be really difficult for people to accept that they need help, and beyond that, in his case, in Twat's case, it certainly sounds like medication ended up being the route. That isn't always the case. I just want to be clear about that. In his case, obviously, it's been huge, and he's angry that he didn't try it sooner. In my case, I've experienced both sides of that coin. Okay, so I'm just saying it very much is situational. You have to go case by case with your psychiatrist. If you're doing medication, you really should have a psychiatrist, in my opinion. Therapy is fantastic. Talk therapy is awesome. But way too many people get prescribed meds by their general physician and shit, which is like just weird. If your doctor is just willing to give you Xanax because you say you get scared on planes, that's a bad doctor. If you're a doctor that does that, we stop. Enough.
The pharmaceutical companies would say they're a great doctor.
They would. I have like 8 friends. Great people.
You have 8 friends?
all
Dude,
no-
what's that like?
Total.
Yeah, what's crazy,
No,
man?
8 of, okay, realistically,
Yeah.
3 or 4 of my friends are people who have Xanax prescriptions because they at one point were like, I kind of want a Xanax prescription for if I have a rough day. Fortunately, none of them are drug addicts to my knowledge, and they're all fine. But that is so dangerous. Like, you can't just hand out prescription meds to people. What the fuck is that? Anyway, if you're getting mental meds, get them from a doctor whose expertise is in that fucking realm. Please. Just please, and thank you. Oh, twat. All right, here's another one. You want to come up with a name?
Yes.
It's an anonymous student at UA Tuscaloosa, so give him a name.
Like male, female, unsure.
I'm psyched because now I know the way this email ends, and you don't. And it doesn't matter. Let's say it's a man. It's a male. I'm pretty sure it's a dude.
Partruzzi.
What the? This is the same name as? Is it
No,
not?
it's not. Partruzzi Dandeliano.
Okay, from Partruzzi Dandeliano. Keep it first name if I make the cut, he says. All right, Partruzzi. But I just want you to know how badass of a dude you are. Oh, thank you, sir. I hopped on around 140 and have listened to every one since then and went on and caught up on basically all of them. Listening to your story and the life you had brought so many similarities. Last year, I found myself in the phase of growing up from life but still struggling from a very bad cocaine addiction. To the point I was down 20 pounds. It was leading me to become emotionally dependent on negatives, and I was stuck thinking I was the only one. To hear your story and how you overcame your problems showed me I wasn't alone and it wasn't impossible. I'm 5 months clean on everything besides weed and booze. And even my drinking is cut back incredibly. I've locked it down in school and have been working hard at bettering everything around me. Knowing that another guy is able to talk about his story and share his story allowed me to open myself up to my friends and family and push on. My girlfriend of 4 years has told me I have been so much better to her and just seem happier. You are changing lives every podcast and have pushed me to be a better person to myself and the people in my life. Gang, gang, gang. Keep doing your thing. P.S. J-Bone, Wisconsin sucks.
Oh, come on, Partruzzi.
Partruzzi came for the throat at the end. Well, first, let me clarify my laughter. If you walked into any meeting or any type of a substance clinic or anywhere treating anything, and you said, "I'm 5 months clean on everything besides weed and booze," they would laugh in your face. And I've just been in that. I'm clearly in your camp. I smoke weed every goddamn day, so I'm not making fun of you or laughing at you.
There's a song about that.
There are so many songs about that, but that one in particular, yes. But no, so it's just a funny thing that in the substance treatment community is still very much a hot button issue. Now it's less so in like legal states like California. There, it's more okay if you smoke. Like
Unless you're a prisoner.
We talked about it. What was it called? Cali sober. A lot of people call themselves that do AA in California, openly smoke marijuana and refer to themselves as sober still. If you do that in Texas, it's a little weird. Some meetings frown upon it. They only consider you sober in some places if you're like legit off everything. Like you can't even be on meds, which is weird. That's not the general AA.
Like Tylenol?
Fucking, I don't know about Tylenol. I mean like psychiatric meds. So if you're on like Prozac or something, some places they don't consider that to be totally clean. So it differs here to here. But that is an awesome story. Thank you for sharing. And congratulations for being 5 months clean off of at least cocaine. That's huge.
Yeah, I take issue with the story, though.
What's that?
Wisconsin does not suck.
Oh, that part.
Partruzzi. Come on, man. Come on.
Okay, well, Jared takes issue. I don't take issue. But thank you again
the rest
for
of
sharing.
it's good, but that part.
Yeah. This next one, I have a name to give him. I can't let you make this one up. I'm going to call him the male nurse. He knows why. Ross, on the outside, I mostly seemed like a normal 32-year-old with a successful job, a beautiful wife, 2 amazing kids, a loving dog, now 2 dogs, and friends in a great community. On the inside, I was struggling trying to deal with this life and my alcohol dependency. I was drinking daily, hiding it and lying about it to my family and loved ones. After several attempts to take time off from drinking, dry January, sober October, Lent, to prove to myself I wasn't an alcoholic, I've been able to turn things around. Alcoholism is in my family. My dad struggled with it and has been sober for over 25 years. Like you, I also use the marijuana. Been smoking for around 15 years and have found it very helpful in dealing with urges and to substitute alcohol out. I was afraid to talk to my closest support system, but through you, parentheses, not a hero, which is a J-Bone joke, which is full circle for my life. And your podcasting prowess, I was able to open up. Listening to your podcasts has given me back my lost confidence. I'm able to go out and attend things and not drink and also not give a shit who knows it. I actually started by listening to FAMP due to the confusing nature of Season 1 of Westworld. I then found RBP and then OCC as my wife and I started GOT prior to the final season. Parentheses, what a disappointment.
True.
I want to thank you for starting your podcast and keeping it alive through Bolen Media. Thank you again, gang, gang, gang. P.S. Make up a good alias for me. I did. You're welcome.
Why is he the male nurse?
I can't answer that, or it could give away. No, his first name was Greg. That was it.
Okay, well.
That was it. It wasn't that good. It was good to me. It was better when I was stoned and wrote that. Okay, so yeah, no, man, this is. I think a lot of people relate to that sort of attempt thing. Like, oh shit, I know I'm fucked right now. Like, I really am in a bad spot. I know I'm drinking too much. I'm really messing up my life. I'll just do dry January and it'll be fine. And then like February comes and you're fine at the front. But eventually shit hits the fan and you realize like, God damn it, I'm not like my friends maybe. Or maybe alcohol just isn't for me or whatever. And that's a thing that a lot of people have to go through. There's so many steps to accepting that drinking alcohol, something that is such a huge part of our society, isn't for you. Because that was the hardest part for me, was to get to the point where I was like, dude, it's just not for you. You suck at it. You like it too much. It makes you a fat, loud, annoying, sweaty doofus. Just smoke weed. It'll be fine. That took me a decade.
I actually knew alcohol drinking Ross for years, many years.
Many years.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
you
it
knew
was-
Bill Chungus well,
I actually,
a.k.a. Fat Ross.
as I've said this, I think I knew Bill Chunk coming down. Like I didn't know that
Chungus.
that picture.
Put some respect on his name. It's Bill Chungus.
That picture of you with your guests from the Patreon episode, I that was jarring to me because I've known you since 2014, and that is not what I was picturing.
Okay, if you've never seen
Bill Chungus.
Big Chungus, though, do you know what Big Chungus is?
I've heard of this.
Shouts to everybody at twitch.tv/BossRoland and in our gaming community. Particularly, I think Lomond is the one who showed me Chungus for the first time. So if you Google Big Chungus, it's Bugs Bunny, but fat as fuck for some reason, like shaped like a pear.
He's really fat.
And his name was Big Chungus. And so one night this came up on the stream, and Loman was like, dude, you looked like Big Chungus when you were Fat Ross. And I was like, oh my God, Bill Chungus. I have to start referring to Fat Ross as Bill Chungus. So that's how Bill Chungus was born, which has everything to do with the rest of this episode. Everything.
Does it?
It sort of does. Bill Chungus was terrible. He had to be killed. He was a fat turd. He was. It was a piece. The man is dead, but not forgotten.
No, I
Never forgotten.
I had great times talking with you when you were drunk.
Yeah. See? I was a fun drunk. Right, Jared? Maybe I'll start drinking again. I'm just fucking with you.
No.
Okay, so where was I? Yes, found us through Freeze All Motor Functions.
That's
Love that.
huge. Hell yeah.
Love that.
That's does that happen that often? Because we did
You would
plug
be
RBP.
shocked.
We did plug RBP on FAMP.
You would be shocked how many people find the shows through each other.
That's
It's like,
nice.
it's nuts.
Very
It
nice.
really is crazy.
Wow, we need to do more cross promotion.
We do a terrible job of that.
You need to listen to my new podcast, The J-Bone Experience, available only on Instagram Live when I am in the bathroom.
He's launching that. No, it's going to be the J-Bone Impact Initiative, and it's just you pooping live on Instagram. All right, next. This is from Holly. Hi, Ross, Jared, AJ, Mike, and the gang. My name is Holly, and I'm from North Jersey. Totally fine if you read that out loud if you end up reading this on the show. Thank fucking God. I just wanted to share my story of how your shows have impacted me. I've been a fan of yours since day one of OCC, and when you were starting RBP, I was a bit hesitant at first. A lot of people were. But once I got into it, I've been hooked
I was
since.
very hesitant.
I'm still hesitant sometimes.
I was like, wait, I thought it was called Rolling with Bolen.
Everybody did. I look forward to every episode of OCC, RBP, and FAMP each week, and these are often the highlight of my day when I drive home from work or just need a distraction from my hectic life. Your honesty and vulnerability about different topics is so appreciated, especially in regards to mental health, as I am a huge advocate for mental health. When I listen to your shows, I feel like I'm having conversations with some of my closest friends, and truly I think of you all as some of my confidants. Lastly, I just wanted to let you know my dad passed away last week. It's been hard on me and my family, but he was one tough guy as he fought a long and hard fight with multiple myeloma. I hope that's correct.
That's correct.
For about 12 years. Listening to your show has always made me feel better, but listening to your show the day after my dad passed brought me some much-needed laughs that I can't thank you enough for. Truly, Ross and the gang, thank you so much for everything. I never thought a podcast would have such an impact on me, but I'm so glad it does. I love you guys. First of all, obviously, so sorry for your loss. That's incredibly tragic, and I wish I had something better to say than so sorry for your loss. That's incredibly tragic, as I'm sure you've heard that 4,000 times. But I am very happy to have been here for you in any capacity, in any way, shape, or form, at any point during that struggle. That's so tough. For families to go through loss like that is one of those really I have never had that, dude. And a lot of people close to me have, obviously. It happens. All of us inevitably face the loss of a family member and face the loss of our parents. And it's, I can't even, it's just like with the anxiety and the mental health stuff, how you can't really understand it until you experience it, like that level of grief and grieving. And I know that, and that's horrifying to me, right? To know that you still have like another level of pain that you're going to have to learn at some point is really scary to me. It's like one of the things that, it's like the blessing and the curse side of life. Like when you haven't had these experiences, they're waiting for you. They're coming inevitably. It's just a matter of time. So like for some of this stuff, I was always so grateful to have gone through what I went through at 18 and 19 and 20 and 21, because so many of my, people I know and are 1 degree, 2 degrees removed from are now going through that shit, figuring out that they have problems with this or that. So just to try to give you even more of a silver lining, if you haven't found that already, it's the level of strength you'll gain through an experience like that, especially with your dad fighting for 12 years, is something that maybe you can't appreciate right now, but inevitably, I promise you will look back on it and see it as a massive blessing in your life. It'll give you, if you allow it to, it'll give you strength to do special stuff that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. And I mean, other than that, I mean, thank you again for sharing your story with Jared and I. I mean, look, we have so much fun coming in here every week and getting to do the show and talk about a lot of really silly stuff, and then the serious stuff is fun too. And Jared's still getting used to the serious side of RBP.
I'm not used to serious potting, but I'm
It's
enjoying
harder,
it. I'm
right?
enjoying it. It's like it's not something I'm used to because I've never been on a podcast that had pretty much any area. It's mostly just me making up stuff about Ross. That's like most of the podcasting Ross and I do is like, oh yeah, this one time Ross and I went to a Chipotle and he asked the person who was like, oh hey, what can I get you, a burrito bowl or a burrito? And he asked them to put their hat inside the tortilla press, and he just ate the warmed hat.
What the fuck? See, that is the kind of shit they used to do though.
Yeah.
This is so much better than that, is it not?
No, it's a lot more fulfilling.
Yeah, and what I mean,
say that much,
is I cannot state enough how much I appreciate it, how much we appreciate it, and how much it goes both ways. And I know I've been saying that for like a year and a half. I hope this RBP Impact Initiative makes it clear why, because as a lot of y'all have noticed, and as I've gone through stuff this past few months, stuff that I can't necessarily talk about yet. A lot of this has gotten me through it, and y'all have gotten me through it, and not just the RBP Impact Initiative, as that's only been a few weeks or whatever, but like all y'all's emails, phone calls, on the hotline, DMs, tweets, everything has meant so much to me too. So, the thanks is reciprocated, is what I mean. Next one, we'll call this guy 007.
Oh,
hey Ross,
okay.
Keep my stuff confidential if you share it. I guess that's I came up with the nicknames last night.
Is this going to self-destruct?
I hope not. So I started the pod around the end of the Micah era. I heard about it by first of all, I like that. I think that's respectful. The Micah era.
I like this next line a lot.
I heard about it by a random person walking the streets of my campus during my junior year, and I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a try, and stuck with it.
Somebody's legal obligation literally worked.
Somebody was in the quad like, if you don't listen to the Ross Bolen podcast, I'm going to court.
And it worked.
Thank you.
Wow.
Random person walking the streets. I was affected by anxiety and intrusive thoughts, but never really to a bad... I'm back on the email now, if that wasn't clear enough. Let me start that sentence over. I was affected by anxiety and intrusive thoughts, but never really to a bad degree. However, in the months leading up to my senior year and during it, some bad shit started to happen. I lost a friend to suicide. 3 months later, another friend passed in a car accident. And 5 or so months later, another friend to another car accident. All of them between 19 to 21. God bless their families. They're in my thoughts and prayers every day. I can't imagine what they're going through. It really made me take a look at myself, my life, and what I've done with it. I hated everything I saw. It sent me to a really dark place. I stopped living at school, going to class, going out, and really enjoying much. I started to get the worst anxiety I ever had, to the point where it was unbearable. Then came the panic attacks. I put myself under so much pressure for many things I couldn't really control. For about a year and a half, I let myself sulk in this place. I felt scared, ashamed, and embarrassed to ever ask for help or let anyone know how I was feeling. If it wasn't for your pod or the way you speak about your experience and the importance of dropping the stigma and just asking for help, I may never have done it. The RBP Impact Initiative further helped me understand the fact that there are so many others that feel the same way and that none of us are alone. It helped me immensely. It gave me the courage to actually let my people know what's happening and not feel so isolated. I absolutely love how you use your podcast to reach people who are suffering and give them so many outlets to help. I love you guys, man. Keep it up. Gang, gang, gang. Yeah, no, I mean, look, that I don't have to follow that up with much. That's makes me incredibly proud to read, because so much of that is so much of what I've had to teach myself this past few years, and a lot of that probably wasn't outwardly clear, but as we've talked about all this shit, even some of the sillier shit like in the animals and shit, like I'm learning a lot of this stuff too, and some of it's new to me. So that being said, I'm looking forward to continuing to live and experience shit, both good and bad, and share it with y'all well into the future for as long as I fucking can. And I really mean that. I can't tell you how much easier it makes it when you're going through some shit and you can remember that you're eventually going to be able to use that to help other people. I feel like I'm cheating. Like I found a cheat code. And I get paid to do it.
You do.
It's outrageous. So thank you. Again, speaking of getting paid to do it, RBP 265 is also brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit now for just $5.66 per serving. Get mouth-watering seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh makes cooking at home fun, easy, and affordable. Break out of your dinner rut with HelloFresh's 22-plus seasonal, chef-curated recipes each week. There's something for everybody, including low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly recipes. HelloFresh has more 5-star recipes than any other meal kit, so you know you'll get something delicious. Jared, you know me. You know I'm an utter and total buffoon.
Failure.
In the kitchen. An ass. We've talked about it recently even.
Yeah.
And you, on the other hand, you're able to do things. You handle yourself.
I'm pretty good.
This is the only meal kit or meal providing service of any kind that I have found that actually gives me something I can make.
Really?
That I can follow the steps, I can make the food, and that it actually tastes good when I'm done, and then I don't hate myself.
You're
as a
telling
result.
me HelloFresh is approachable enough for the
Bill
culinary equivalent of a cotton ball
Yes.
to make their food and have it taste good.
Yes.
Wow.
If they said, Ross, compare your chef skills to anything, what is the comparison? It is a cotton ball.
Yeah.
I am that useless in the kitchen. But with HelloFresh, even me, the cotton ball, the human cotton ball, can do it. I mean, I'm serious, though. These are so freaking good. And they cut out all the stressful meal planning and prepping, so you just enjoy cooking, and then you get dinner on the table in like 30 minutes, even 20 minutes with some of the quick start or quick recipe options that they have. The average trip to the grocery store is going to take you 41 minutes. That's over 35 hours a year
I recently realized
if you go once a week.
that the grocery store is the biggest time suck of my life.
And time sucks become more and more important the busier you get.
Yes. With my full-time job and RBP and FAMF, like I don't have time anymore to go
Aisle to aisle.
aisle to aisle, find parking first off, end up looking at all the impulse buys of doing, like, no, just cut the grocery store out of your life. I've done it recently, and you'll be happy. And HelloFresh is a great way to do that.
It is. Pre-proportioned ingredients. There's less prep for you and less food waste. You want to be less wasteful. We all do. The packaging HelloFresh uses to ship your food is almost entirely made from recyclable and or already recycled content. Their carbon footprint is 25% lower than store-bought grocery-made meals at HelloFresh. Every time I make one of these, I am seriously amazed. They're so good. It is so easy. Go to HelloFresh.com/RBP10. That's HelloFresh.com. HelloFresh.com/RBP10. And use the code RBP10, and you will get 10 free meals, including free shipping.
Hey, here's what I want you to do.
HelloFresh.com/RBP10. Use the code RBP10.
If you use HelloFresh.com/RBP10, I want you to send me a picture of your meal, and I will rate it.
Jared will rate your HelloFresh meals
I will
now.
rate your meal.
He's obligating himself to that legally.
Either Twitter at
Let the
Jared
record
Borislow.
show.
Yes, Twitter at Jared Borislow, Instagram at Jared Borislow. Send me a picture of your HelloFresh made meal. I will rate it on a scale. I'm not going to do the classic 0 to 10. I'm probably going to do...
It's 1 to 10, but okay.
Well, okay.
Who gives a 0?
I'm not going to everybody a 0.
Who gives a 0? That's a 1 to 10 scale.
I'm going to do 0.
Jesus. Harsh scale Jared's got.
I'm going to do 0.1 to 7.
Okay, fair enough. Jumping into our next RBP Impact Initiative from Austin. It says, Dear William, my name is Austin, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I served with, I don't know if I'm allowed to read this, and it looks like I am, 5th Battalion, 11th Marines. I went on one peacetime deployment first, and then one combat deployment, and I started listening to RBP a few months after I got back from the last one. When you deploy around the world and see the way many other humans live their lives, it changes the way you think about things. It changes how you treat other people because you get to take a peek into the life of humans who have an entirely different life experience. People that wake up in the morning and instead of worrying about whether or not to hit the snooze for 10 more minutes, they have to fight for their life to protect the ones they love because they were brought into this world at a different physical location. And that is just it. It is a different physical spot, but is the exact same flesh and blood as ours, the same human brain with hopes and aspirations, but all hindered because of evil spread by others. For some fucking reason in this world, too many people think it's harder or just straight refuse to get along and chose to spread their hate and discontent rather than their good. And the only way to change that is to do exactly what you were doing, my man. We have to spread goodness throughout our lives and help each other through the bad. You're showing what you were doing has been and will continue to be a great example of how to treat others on this insane walk through life. It has helped me through a lot in my transition to the civilian world and continues to fill my day with absolute nonsense. Thank you, brother. Much love, G3.
I love the ending.
Military RBP gang. P.S. Come out as a furry already, pussy.
I agree with that. I'm fully on the Ross needs to just admit it. That's why we talk about it so much. just do it. By the way, I did
Can
have
I pick my own fetishes, people?
I had a mascot
Could you
reach out
give
to
me
me.
that?
I had a mascot reach out to me.
Did you seriously?
Yes. He had a crazy story. I told him to call into the
Oh, for the
hotline.
love of God. That's multiple. We've got mascots coming out of the wazoo now. We're going to be the number one mascot podcast.
We
in
have a
the world
mascot
soon.
from Wazoo, from
No,
Washington
no,
State.
No, Jared. See what you're doing there, though. Hey, thank you so much, first of all, for your service. Thank you so much for your email, Austin. And I don't think there's anything I could say to make your words any better, so I'm just going to move on. From Taylor with an E.
So T-E-Y-L-E.
T-A-Y-L-E-R. What the
Oh,
fuck
gotcha.
happened there? Jeez Christ, you got to get that fixed. I'm just kidding, dude. One, or lady. No, it's a dude. Okay, this is hilarious. Ross, when I started following your content, parentheses, religiously read TFM, in parentheses, I was a cocaine addict. I am not longer a cocaine addict. Almost 9 months clean, boy. Coincidence? Who the fuck knows? But love the show. You're the man. Regards, Taylor with an E.
I like short and sweet. I like it.
I was a cocaine addict. I am no longer a cocaine addict.
But love the
Boy.
show.
Dude,
That's awesome.
short and
Do
sweet.
you think that RBP made him no longer a cocaine addict?
You know, Jared, I don't like to take credit for all of the cocaine sobriety in the world, but I often end up doing so. So, yes. Here's one from Dusty. Ross, my guy, I've been a long-time listener of yours. Parentheses, backdoor cover. Hey, even before RBP. Man, you have no earthly idea what you have helped me get through in life. While listening to you, I've been in the darkest places I've ever been. Since being a fan of yours, my best friend committed suicide. My mother passed away suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 48 and gone through a horrific relationship with my high school sweetheart of 8 years. Days when I had absolutely nothing to look forward to. RBP gave me some kind of laugh and brink of light to my dark days. The biggest impact you have on me was literally being there. One day while I was at work, I got the news that my now ex had been cheating on me for a very long time, and I was having a literal mental breakdown. I messaged you and told you what was going on, and you took the time out of your busy workday to send me a link of an RBP episode when you made an anxiety attack remedy. I'm in tears as I type this because I will never be able to repay you, and I thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do, Ross, and bring light to us in our darkest days. You're the fucking man, gang. Thank you, Dusty. Dusty, I've already said this, but thank you. And that panic attack remedy video, I've got to find that
Is
shit
that
and put it on YouTube. Kuroshio C.
Yeah.
But somebody made us that dope clip where it's like me talking over the Kuroshio C video. It's an edit.
Yeah, you got to bring that back. A lot of people haven't seen that.
A shitload. It's like most of the people probably haven't seen that, especially on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because we were small on Instagram when we put that shit up.
Yeah, you got to put that back out.
I fucking love that thing. I still go listen to that song and watch that video routinely.
I literally watched that video last week.
Not the version with me talking over it to myself for the record.
That would be weird.
It would be very.
You just have an internal monologue.
It's just I have that ability to talk to me. I don't have to listen to me.
I do when I'm in this room. Otherwise, I don't know if people know this. Ross doesn't let me interact with him.
No, the second the door opens up and the studio session is over, Jared's not allowed to even look me in the eye.
Ross, great recording. Jared, shut up.
You shut your fucking mouth, Jared. It's like Bradley Cooper leaving the school in The Hangover.
Yeah.
It's the weekend. I do not know you. You do not exist to me. Next, Leo from New York. Hey, Ross, my name is Leo, and I'm a college student from New York. I told you. I wanted to share with you how much the pod has helped me to get through some tough times in my life. It started my first semester of college at Syracuse. I got too caught up in partying and drinking until I ended up skipping all of my classes in order to drink or smoke weed. What an idiot. Who does that? With my grades obviously slipping, I
Ross.
became more and more reliant on booze. I also became more and more depressed as the semester went on. I ended up finishing that semester with a .54 GPA. I win, bitch. .40. I win.
Wow, it's not
and
a
getting
competition,
I
Ross.
win and getting suspended from the school. After appealing the suspension, they decided to let me back in. The second semester was more the same heavy drinking, except the depression kept increasing, and I had no idea how to handle it, and I would refuse to reach out to friends or family for help. I also gained about 65 pounds at this time. I somehow managed to pass enough that I would be allowed back for a third semester. This semester would end up being my last at Syracuse, as I would fail out at the end. During the course of that semester, I was pushed even deeper into depression. I hated to even look at myself in the mirror. That's when I found RBP, and since hearing your story, I was able to turn my life completely around. Since dropping out of Syracuse, I've been taking classes full-time at a community college, was inducted into their honor society, and I'm on track to graduate next fall. I've also been able to get back into my love of wrestling and ended up taking third at a national tournament. I know I wouldn't have been able to get back on my feet and let people help me if I hadn't started listening to RBP. You always helped me to smile and have a little laugh when I thought I couldn't make it through another day. I have listened to every episode and became a dues-paying member as soon as I could, and love watching your stream while I do homework. Keep doing what you're doing, because I know the whole gang appreciates it. GGG, thank you. Leo, first off, GGG stands for gang, gang, gang. Thank you, Leo, for sharing that story as well, man. It can be really hard. That's the hardest thing for so many of us, just to admit that we need help. And then once you open yourself up to that and tell your people and talk about it, things get so much easier. So much of our suffering as human beings and the isolation we feel is self-caused. And as somebody who has done that his whole life and had to learn ways and then and eventually launch a podcast to combat it, I feel you. That's huge. So congratulations. Here's one from a teacher named Ben. Hi, Ross. I started listening to OCC back in the early days and have been a gang member since you first went live. When you would talk about anxiety in the early episodes, it seemed like a foreign concept to me. But hearing a regular guy my age talk about it helped me understand anxiety better and be more understanding to my students. I had this naive perception that anxiety is for the mentally weak or those that had been through significant trauma, and the, quote, rest of us, end quote, were doing fine. Excuse me. Last year, some drastic changes went down at work, and after investing so much of my time, so much of my own self into being a state-recognized and all-around badass teacher, I was feeling incredibly betrayed and without much purpose. The uncertainty of it all started to manifest into physical feelings of anxiety, and now I just have days where I have a softball-sized knot in my chest for seemingly no reason. In 31 years of life, not lice, that would be awful.
Really, that's a lot of lice.
I had never dealt with anything like that. Where I may have kept this to myself in the past, hearing you and other callers talk about their issues have helped me open up to my wife and others over the past year or so. As I write this, today should be a good day, but holy shit, I just needed a couple minutes with the Kuroshio C. How the hell did that just come back up?
Yeah, that was good.
I hope that others in this community know that even those of us that look like we have everything together can struggle, and we're all in this together, as we like to say. Keep doing what you're doing, Ben. Yeah,
I actually can contribute something.
do it.
I haven't like really contributed much. I've just commented.
Jared!
I've just commented on what Ross has said the whole time.
Well, there's a lot to get through
Yeah.
too, so I can't, you know.
But I'm trying to get better at like opening up. I'm not very great at that because I partially.
Most people aren't.
Well, it's probably because I use humor as like a shield, right? I think that's something a lot of people that we know who are in this industry
Absolutely,
do.
absolutely.
And so like, it's rather than facing any sort of like actual feeling or something,
difficult conversation.
yeah, I can just make a joke about it. That's much easier to me.
It is, yes.
And then we're on a time crunch, so we move on to the next topic, and then I don't have to say anything. I'm just like,
It's beautiful.
I'm just saying my whole strategy right here. That's really what it is.
But also, we don't both have to dissect seriously every single one of these, and it wouldn't make sense. Like, that's part of it. That's not, if you and I are on the same exact wavelength in terms of how we handle things emotionally and talk about shit, like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works. I love our dynamic because you and I do have very different ways of dealing with shit and are at totally different stages of our life and have dealt with different stuff. So we have different ways of looking at stuff. Anyway,
Yeah. So what? I guess my takeaway from this is the real line that stood out to me is when he said that I hope that others in this community know that even those of us that look like we have everything together can struggle, and we're all in this together. It took me probably until I was, I'd say 21 in life to understand that I wasn't the only person who didn't have everything put together.
yeah.
I would go around and I'd see these people and I'm like, that guy's better at this than me. That guy's more social than me. That guy's funnier than me. That guy's this. And so I'd always compare myself to other people with the pretense that everything that they did better than me, but also the things that I did better than them, they still did better than me because
Right.
I sucked at them. And it's all about being a well-rounded person who like is good at everything. It's like, no, like I'm not good at everything. I'm good at some things. I'm terrible at other things. And every other person is like that. And like, I mean, there's even specific people I can think of who like, you know, maybe they like came to me and said something that was going on in their lives. And I was like, oh, wow. Like I assumed your life was perfect. And it looks like you have problems too. And
Right?
that was a big turning point in my life was
Realizing that
every single person is going through life and experiencing
some type of
Hardship,
difficulty
yeah.
or hardship, and yes, and that stage, I went through that stage too, and it's awful because you're just judging yourself constantly, and like,
yeah.
first of all, now it's so much worse because when I went through it, like Instagram didn't even exist yet, fam.
Yeah.
Now you can do it without even leaving your house.
Yeah.
And it's just such a horrible thing that so many people struggle with. Like comparing yourself to other people is one of the biggest wastes of energy, if you want to put it that way, or time ever that
Yes.
you can literally do as a human being. It is pointless, stupid, not the way it works. All of us are at different phases in all different walks, so there's no reason to look around. And you always do it with the people closest to you, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's just insane. I'm telling you, I promise you, no matter what, you're looking around at all these people, oh, these people have this, these people have that. No, all these motherfuckers are miserable. All of us are suffering in the
Yeah.
same fucking boat. You're out of your mind if you think any amount of money or traveling or vacationing or makeup or stuff or any of that matters in the long run.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
And it's important to note here that like while Ross and I both understand that that's the case, it's not like we still don't find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people.
No, it still
It
happens.
happens.
It's a thing you have to remind
Yeah.
yourself of constantly. That that is like one of the things that we as human beings, it's poison in our brains.
Yeah.
We just do it automatically. We can't help it. It's weird. You spoke to like when you were younger and you don't notice these things.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in middle school, and my best friend at the time, this dude's name was Nathan. He was like the hot guy in our class, right? He was like the hottest, most popular dude in our class. He
Yeah.
was. But so I was always like, I always compared myself to him. Okay, and it was always like, I knew I was like not shitty as a dude. I knew I was like a pretty decent human. I was funny and like I'm not terrible looking. People seemed to like me. But there was always my best friend Nathan,
Yeah.
who was better at everything in my eyes, right? So it was like that lesson took me a really long time to learn too. I was probably 25, man, before I figured out that comparing yourself to other people is a total and utter waste of time.
Yeah. For me, I would say one of the hardest internal struggle things I had. It's one of those things that seems kind of small, but I think it was more indicative of like a bigger issue was I did this speech in front of like, I don't know, I had a class of maybe like 200 people or so, 150 people in college, and it was like part of a group project.
Big ass class to give a speech in front of, dude.
I was part of a group project, so everybody else in the whole class was speaking at some point. I bombed. I had recently gotten to a point where I was feeling good. I like had won my group had won a competition like the year before. I had given a bunch of other good speeches.
So your confidence was up.
My confidence had only been getting higher from high school up to this point in college. So I like didn't prepare that much.
Oh no, you got cocky.
I got cocky. I had like a note card like everybody does, but like it was just straight high level bullet points.
Oh man.
Like, oh, J-Bone, all you got to do is read journalistic ethics, and then you're gonna rattle it through.
It's like when
off
you
the
launch into
noggin.
one of your insane non sequitur jokes about my life that you
Yeah.
don't know where it's going because you literally didn't plan it.
Yeah, but back then it was actually a presentation that had to go somewhere. I couldn't make it up as I went on. They'd be like, "Hey, Jared, that's way different than what you have on the behind you on the PowerPoint."
Yeah.
But yeah, so after that, I like got really in my head, and I got to the point where I want to say it was about a year later. I found it. I started the semester in this one class that I wasn't really happy about, but I just had to take it because it was a requirement. And they said that every person had to give like a 20-minute long semester-ending presentation. I literally transferred out of that class to avoid doing the presentation. Now, it's important to note, any class I transferred to was going to have a presentation, but I was like, well, I know this one is not going to have at least a 20-minute long solo one. I ended up having to do like a 5-minute long group one, which I ended up. Everything gets better. This is about a year of my
Thank
life.
God.
I did well in that one. I did a Spanish one that I got like the best score in the class on later
Like
on.
you had to give a speech in Spanish?
Yeah. Spanish major. The fam knows all about that.
Yeah, Jared majored in Spanish.
I did. And journalism.
How long did you have to give a speech in Spanish? How long?
It was a presentation, probably like 10 minutes.
Entirely in Spanish?
Yeah.
Like you were not allowed to use English?
No. I mean, yeah, it's college Spanish
Man,
classes.
that blows
you can't,
my mind.
can't
I don't
speak
want to
English.
derail into
Yeah,
the
no,
fact
yeah.
that you're bilingual or something.
My whole point is...
Which I don't think you are, but I still don't believe you are. But go on.
My whole point of this was to say that I got really in my head thinking that, oh, because I gave this one bad speech, it means I can never give another good speech ever again, and everybody who is good at speaking in front of people is a better human being than me because they are better at speaking in front of crowds. I had convinced myself of that in my brain, that my
Makes no sense.
that my anxiety that came about before speaking in front of crowds made me a worse human being than other people.
Like,
Yeah.
that
And it was a very real.
that level of
very real.
self-judgment is so weird. Because, like, I don't know if that's taught, but, like, I did the exact same thing. Like, I know the exact feeling you're speaking to. I can feel it, the fucking
Yes.
cringe in my soul. Because it's so specific. That feeling of, like, judging yourself against somebody else
Yeah.
as not worthy. And that's insane. It just, like, what the fuck competition do we think we're winning?
Yeah.
There are no trophies being handed out for this shit. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So, like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know if it's because we're Americans or what the fuck, but, like, my whole basis for thinking from the age of, like, 3 to yesterday was fucked. Which is really, like, it's
Yeah,
hard to live
no.
that way, man, when you have a completely shit foundation for your standards of, like, and this is to say, with, like, the best parents in the entire world, the best schooling I could have possibly been afforded for at least 8 years. High school was trash.
West Side.
Didn't learn shit at West Side. Shouts to everybody else who didn't learn shit at West Side. But I'm just saying, man, like,
Yeah.
that's self-taught stuff and learn. I don't know if it's through pop culture or what, but we all do
Yeah.
that. We got to stop.
And like I said, like I still don't feel like super comfortable doing it. And like the ones I did that were good at the end of college, the whole time I was just shitting my pants. But I was like, you got this, like you can get through this. And then I want to say it was 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago, I think it was. I realized I was like, I don't ever have to face this fear anymore. Like the only times, because when we do podcasting, it's recorded, right? I mean, we do the live Twitch, but like that's kind of different because there's no like audience there.
Yeah, we can't see them.
Exactly. So what I did was I literally went into Chicago and my brother took me to his friend's improv show and I said that looks really fun, and that would help me finally face this fear that has been sitting dormant in my brain ever since I kind of got over it. But
But you can't speak in public.
It's mostly that I get that. What it really was. And we can dive into this on a later episode about like what you and me's biggest random kind of anxieties are.
Yeah, we'll
It could be a
definitely
good
have to
episode.
do it on a later episode.
But I took an improv for a year. I've done a few improv shows in front of strangers, not
Right.
just like people. And
yeah, when you told me you started doing this,
Yeah.
it still blows my mind.
yeah, so it's face your fears. And I'm definitely not totally over it. I still get nervous before I do the
For sure.
shows, but I'm definitely in a much better place, and I feel a lot better about it. And I know it can come back at any time, but knowing that I can also get over it is like the big thing for me.
That is such a big part of like you said it at the beginning too. It's like just because you suck at something or did suck at something or bombed something or failed at something doesn't mean you can't be good at it or dominate it or crush it later.
Yep.
And most of the time that stuff that you fail at is going to be the driving force to the shit that you become incredible at. So you got to harness it and attack, and a lot of times it just takes you facing it.
Yeah.
And then that realization also that just it's like some stuff you fight forever.
All those people in college who I thought were like way better public speakers than me, they don't have a successful podcasting.
They're all dead. Oh, no, they just don't have a successful podcast career.
Yeah.
And now when you speak into a microphone, it's like at least 20,000 people an episode per week, which is a lot more than 150.
It is.
And you don't have to see them. We cheated the system. We're in a room.
We did.
Fuck yeah.
Soundproof room.
RBP 265 is also brought to you by Acre Gold. I love gold.
What is that from?
Acre Gold from Austin Powers. Acre Gold is a badass company that lets you subscribe to gold bars, which sounds crazy, but it's cool because you don't have to come out of pocket all at once for gold bars.
This is awesome.
And having gold bars is fucking tight.
There's been talk of the RBP branded gold bars.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if this
It's possibly coming at some point. It just reminds me of Three Kings. I love the movie Three Kings. We Three Kings be stealing the gold. Instead of coming out of pocket all at once, you subscribe for $30 or $50 a month, and Acre will send you a 2.5-gram gold bar every few months.
Dude, this is
trying to get gold in the mail.
This is the first time I've heard about this. This is unbelievable.
You see commercials and read stuff about like these crap-ass companies with no real brand behind them to connect with.
Yeah.
Buying gold today is like visiting a state fair drunk and hoping to find a lottery ticket. When Acre hit us up, we had actually been looking at some of these other precious metal sites, and we were so confused by all the options because there's too many things.
I see like the U.S. Treasury's like, we just released the newest collectible coin. Like, what does this even mean?
There's
Like,
just too much going on. There's 12 billion SKUs, which, by the way, means stock keeping unit. I bet you didn't know that. I learned that. But I love Acre because it's like forced savings. So you do the $30 or the $50 a month plan, and gold just shows up to your house. And the gold is baller, too, because it's Acre branded.
Maybe RBP branded.
Soon, maybe. And manufactured in freaking Switzerland like a goddamn James Bond movie in your mailbox, son. What are you waiting for? You can get gold delivered directly to your doorstep. GetAcreGold.com/Ross. That's GetAcreGold.com/Ross. And Acre is giving away a gold bar. You can win this gold bar by tweeting at @get_Acre and me at WR Bolen and telling us why you deserve to be our winner of a gold bar.
Am I eligible?
No.
Damn it.
GetAcreGold.com/Ross. Fire those tweets off. Tag at @get_Acre and at WR Bolen, and good luck. I love gold. What in the fuck?
That was my favorite ad read we've ever
My
done.
life is out of control. Do we need to leave? Do you have 5 more minutes? Can I read one more? Okay, she's giving me 5. We got 5. Thank you so much, Mariah. Okay, there are a few more of these that we do not have time to get through, so I'm going to get through the 2 that I feel are probably most important. I'm making a very quick judgment decision on the fly, and here we are. So this one is from Not a Joke. Wham.
Better than twat.
Wham. Starts, yep! Exclamation point. This is fucking sweet. The timing of this FOOKING. I'm not just saying that strangely. The timing of this initiative is amazing for hundreds of your listeners from all walks of life. Side note, I think you should make this a yearly thing. To be honest, I think everyone is a little crazy. And thank you, Wham. And at some point or another, we are all going to have to get to know that side of ourselves. Fucking A. We live in a culture full of hockey stick graphs, division, and pressure to succeed, and it's easy to experience some impending doom. The more conversations we can have about living through mental turmoil, the more people that will be able to make it out the other side. Reminds me of Gangstar, Moment of Truth, best song ever to help me through tough times. Recently, I've not heard that one, by the way. Thank you for the recommendation. Continuing, recently I've needed an outlet, and I'm excited to take full advantage of this. A little bit of background on this dude. Lives in the mountains with girlfriend and dog named El Chapo, 23 years old, graduating in May with a sustainability degree, played football for several years. He believes that impacted his brain chemistry significantly, often finds himself in a mental state of terror and disassociation, never been fully diagnosed with anything, but, call it what you want, he says. Like yourself, I have absolutely no problem seeking help, but living in a small ski town with a very high suicide rate, it's hard to find an in-person therapeutic setting with a trained professional. They are all booked up. I'll reiterate, this is why the timing of your initiative is so pristine. On top of therapy and writing to podcasters like you, I have other strategies to tackle mental illness, and I think as I get older, it's more and more clear how to craft and tend to my external support system. Maybe these strategies could help other listeners. I run a lot, which is easily the best and biggest recentering activity that has worked for me. Trail running is especially good. I write in a journal every day and really try to craft a mentality of discipline, logic, and respect for others. I call my family more and other people I know that are struggling. I step out of my comfort zone. Recently just performed in a local dance show and completely stepped into a whole new community full of energy. The golden rule reigns true, so hard for me right now, especially being me as someone pretty defensive of my ego. Just treat others how you yourself want to be treated. Never take out your own issues on other people. Leave your shit at the door and be present with others to the best of your ability. RBP has certainly been a tool for me as well. I listen while I milk my goats, tend to the garden, and walk my dog. Been a listener since the first episode. I study lots of ecology, and I'm super down for a good animal of the week. By the way, check out the sea slug, a nudibranch species. Anyway, I don't know what that means. Anyway, nudibranch sounds tied though. Anyway, hearing experiences that is it the branch that all the slugs on that branch are naked?
Yes.
No shells? I don't know what's happening right now. Anyway, hearing experiences that you all have had to navigate the world have been excellent. Micah's crazy landlord, throwback. Your skiing stories, my skiing stories. Russian college kid. I don't have any skiing stories. I've never been skiing. Russian college kids that probably got eaten by a Yeti. Just top-notch entertainment, man. I'm just mixing in other shows and shit. Really gets me through. Appreciate you, Ross. Let's play some Apex. Already got 5 dubs on season 4. Or send some cliffs on the mountain. Deuces. Wham.
But you don't ski.
But I don't ski, so we're definitely not going to be doing that thing about the mountain. Last one from Bear. Hello, Ross. If you end up reading this on the pod, you can call me Bear. I am currently a senior in high school, recently been accepted into UMaine, my dream school. Congratulations. But ever since about sophomore year of high school, I felt like I'm completely alone. My group that I have known since 5th grade abandoned me. My friend group ghosted me, had just left me behind without warning or care. Ever since then, I've tried many attempts to regain their friendship, like join the school's football team when I've never played before, where I started as a junior. I was terrible at it, but I loved the sport. I've achieved a lot in 18 years. I'm an Eagle Scout, and I'm currently doing dual enrollment through a nearby community college, and I'm doing well. My family is great, very loving, and gives me all the support I need. But at the end of the day, I am left too empty, alone, and sad. I do not want those friends back, but I've never made a solid friend group since 2 years ago. This is the first time I've said something to someone about how I feel, and it is weightlifting. I watch these people on YouTube who have massive parties and a bunch of friends always hanging out with each other, laughing and playing. I just want something simple. I just want someone there for me who I can trust and won't leave. I mean, I should not be feeling like I'm alone, but I do. I don't know what to do, and I'm terrified to say anything to anyone. This podcast and my dog have been very helpful, and it's always there every week to get me through classes and my everyday struggles. Ross, I want to thank you for being so open on the podcast. This has given me the courage to say what I've just said. I also want to thank Micah, AJ, J-Bone, and Mike for the laughs. Those help the most. Thank you for reading, Bear. And to cap today's show off, you are never, ever alone. And this very episode is proof. You are not alone. I am not alone. Jared probably should be alone, but even he is not alone.
It's true.
And as it has helped so many of y'all, as I have said over and over, it has helped me as well. It has helped Jared as well, when he will admit that one day. Won't you, Jared?
Yes.
And this has been one of the coolest things we've gotten to do through 265 episodes of this show, to share so many of y'all's stories, to read the hundreds of emails that y'all sent in. I have read every single one of them that have come in through us starting this recording.
Oh, it's weird that you read that reservation I sent you at the steakhouse that you'd never responded to.
Oh, no, that must have got mixed up in the show. That was, you know what, it's probably my spam folder.
Oh,
I'm sure it's just in spam, Jared. It's no big deal. I'll probably find it in spam. But y'all are incredible. I have gotten to do a lot of what people think is like really cool shit in my career. This is the coolest thing I've ever gotten to do, was to read all y'all's stories. This has been the most weird, emotionally up and down, all around insane several-month transitional period of my life, even more so than the shit I went through in high school and college. Y'all have all heard about extensively, and y'all being there for me and sharing your stuff has made it all the easier. There are so many of you who have reached out to me personally to make sure that I'm okay when you've got shit like this on your plate, which is just even further proof that if you allow people to be there for you, they will. It doesn't matter how serious your circumstances or how maybe insignificant you may think they are compared to others. If you're hurting, and you need help. That's it. There's no judging. There's no looking at somebody else's shit versus yours or what the fuck. Just, that's it. All you have to do is ask, and somebody will help you. There are enough good people on this planet to where if all of us help each other, we'll be fine. Or at least a hell of a lot better off than we are closed off and alone. And I know this because I've already tried that route, and it fucking sucked. So don't do that. That's all I have to say about this shit. But keep the emails coming. If you're listening to this and it's like 2024 or some shit, at WR Bolen, I'm probably still on all the social medias in the future. I don't know if email will still exist. Maybe it'll be gone. God, please kill it. If it still exists, Ross at rossbolenpodcast.com. My inbox is like the worst place in the world. So bear with me. Unless you titled your shit RBP Impact Initiative, those of y'all that didn't listen to the instructions, you screwed up. Everybody who titled it correctly, I was able to filter them. I learned a strategy in Gmail. And then
That's not a strategy.
everyone knows how to do it. No, Jared, it's a very secret strategy. Nobody else knows about it.
Oh,
It's just me not sharing it with the audience. And I was able to pull all y'all's from that. But like for the most part, my inbox is a fucking mess. So send me the emails, but title them RBP Impact Initiative, Ross at rossbolenpodcast.com. Thank you so much for sharing all of your stories. Thank you for Mariah for sitting here for 22 extra minutes past our recording time as well. Everybody here at Permanent Record is always incredible to us and has been so freaking flexible with me for the past, almost a year now? It's like 9 months or something. I don't know. But that's where we record every single episode here at Permanent Record with Mike Moody and Grant Davis at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. Before you all head out to take on the world, we have some very important announcements. First and foremost, you have 2 legal obligations that you've been saddled with having listened to this entire episode. We say this at the end of every single show. It's mostly a joke. You get it. You got 2 legal obligations. 1, rate and review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, 2 or 3 sentences about why you love the show, and that's it. That's all you got to do. On Apple Podcasts, rate, review, move on to number 2, which is to tell one person, a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual that you think, man, this person might really enjoy the Ross Bolen Podcast.
Okay, I'm calling dibs on Ross. Hey, Ross, listen to the Ross Bolen Podcast.
Oh my God, Jared did it. We don't have to go to court anymore. I can call the lawyers and tell them that Jared's name doesn't have to be on the list anymore, and everybody lives long and prosper. Look at that. That was so great. Good job, Jared.
Thank you.
See how easy that was?
We're still going to go to court, though. Workplace harassment.
Well, for sure. For different stuff, though.
Yeah.
Different stuff. Totally different.
yeah,
And I don't know why you had to bring it up. It doesn't really fucking have anything to do with this. We're trying to have a
dirty
positive
laundry.
episode about making
Sorry.
people's lives better, and you're bringing up the harassment case. Yeah, so if you know somebody who's been through some shit, lost a family member, has mental health issues, addiction, substance abuse, you just heard from all these different people, man, share the show. It's that simple. That's it. I don't have to say anything else. Follow us on Instagram at the Ross Bolen. I will, though. At the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners, and I swear I mean no offense by that. Follow me. I am Ross.
At Jared Borislow.
At WR Bolen on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN. Also check out the other shows we mentioned during this podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, where we cover the best in television and film with myself and Mr. Barrett Dudley every week, and then also Freeze All Motor Functions.
Ross, we'll take it from here.
That's where Jared's going to take over.
So here's the deal. Westworld, great show, phenomenal show.
HBO.
If you've already seen it,
It's not television, it's HBO.
you need to rewatch it and listen to all of my and Ross's recap episodes for every single episode of Westworld.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free. You can listen to episode 2 from season 2, and there's no spoilers from episodes 3 through 10. If you've never seen Westworld, lucky you. You have 20 episodes of the best show on television to get caught up with, and
It is a ton of fun.
you have a bazillion hours of me and Ross talking about it and making jokes. Ross and I make a lot of inside jokes here on RBP,
We do.
and some people made them today from some of the
From Freeze All Motor Functions.
from Freeze the Motor Functions. Do you like having inside jokes with me and Ross specifically because you're listening to his podcast?
Fun.
Yeah. You want to have inside jokes with us? Listen to FAMP. There's a ton of them there. They're great. We have a lot of fun. It's coming back. We have 2 preview episodes. Ross just broke the mic.
Sorry.
We have 2 preview episodes for season 3 already out, so you can get some Westworld flowing in your brain. And let's go. FAMP.
Freeze All Motor
At Freeze All Motor on Twitter.
Functions.
At Freeze All Motor Functions on Instagram. I am Jared Borislow. You can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/bestoffurries.
What the fucking son of a bitch.
I didn't lock it down yet.
Oh, God. I got to do the sign off again. That will do it for RBP 264 recorded and produced by Mike Moody and Grant Davis at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back on, I don't know, maybe Saturday. I've been talking with Mike. I might come back this weekend and do an episode for fun. I'm not sure yet. Maybe we'll get another one in and do some more RBP Impact Initiative someday soon. Maybe not this weekend. That wouldn't make sense. But soon. Keep the emails coming. We'll be back. RBP 266 coming at some point in the near future. If not this weekend, then most certainly by Monday. Podman gets paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Peace be with you.
Wait, look at the camera and we'll close our laptops and then the recording will stop. Ready?
And also with you.
Peace be with you, and also with you.
baby.